All right, what's up, guys? I got this reaction I'm gonna do of Pink Book Lessons video. She's an awesome creator. The video is on Jeezy and Jenny Mai, so I want to see her take and her thoughts. So let's check it out.
All right, let's talk about it. Jeannie Mai and Jeezy. When I first saw these two together, I didn't take it seriously. Why? Because it just didn't make sense. Jeannie wasn't Jeezy's type, and Jeezy wasn't necessarily Jeannie's type either. I mean, it was years and years ago. She said that white meat is what kept her trim.
For me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean. That's why I...
And that's been her thing forever because she said that way back when Tamar Braxton was on the show. When Jeezy and Jeannie went public with their relationship in 2019, those comments resurfaced then, causing a lot of criticism about their relationship. Jeezy responded in 2020, saying that they talked about her offensive comments and went around covering for her.
But before we even started dating, we had that conversation.
Really?
First thing, when we really talked, she sat me down. She said, listen, it was something that I said and it might have got taken out of context, and I want you to listen to it in its entirety. And I did. And I think you guys do journalism.
Mm-hmm.
You guys do it every day. People can take what they want. You know what I'm saying? And I know her people. I know her family. I ain't never felt no sense of racism. She comes from the Bay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
She eats chitlins.
Right. And
Oh, yeah.
knows some real, like she knows E40 better than me. Like,
So Jeezy, he ignored that criticism in 2019. He proposed to Jeannie in the spring of 2020.
As we're talking, I just want you to know, I flipped this 3-week nail, and I'm not about to I'm trying to keep it together for the spring, so I'm gonna glue my nail while I tell you this story. Yes, I'm officially engaged. It's crazy. What?
So by the end of 2020, Jeezy was knee-deep into this foolishness when he could have backed out. But hey, he kept moving forward. They got married in 2021, Jeannie gave birth to their first child together in 2022, and now in 2023, Jeezy filed for divorce and joint custody because he's tired of this lady already, and I could have told Jeezy this wasn't going to work, but anybody that said the relationship wasn't going to work was simply waved off as a hater. Listen, I'll get right to it. The real reason why Jeezy dumped Jeannie Mai is because she's a disrespectful feminist. I was the first one to popularize the word chameleon, and I've been talking about chameleons. It's one thing about them though. Even a couple of years ago, every time I would highlight a chameleon, people will get so upset because they get fooled by the chameleon. That's how you know a chameleon is doing her job. But Jeannie was definitely a chameleon. Yes, she made Jeezy think that she was a different woman from what she really was.
I just think sometimes like people look for things in people, but at the same time, you got to know I'm a good judge of character, and I'm not gonna do nothing that's gonna jeopardize my integrity. But she's so solid. That's one of the first conversations we had.
That's fine.
Like, you different.
Like she was some cool, down-to-earth, relaxed woman that was ready to be a submissive, nurturing wife.
So the actual definition of submit is to accept or yield to a superior force or to the authority or will of another person. So I'm gonna say right here that I, Jeannie Mai, going into my marriage, I want to submit to my man.
Jeannie was none of that, but she was...
I would say this, right? I believe she was trying. I think the problem is, we'll probably talk more about it, but this is American, right? Asian American women. Asian women, especially Asian American women, have lost the femininity, the softness, right? The traditionalists of Asian culture, right? They have been indoctrinated. They have been, brainwashed by feminism, right? By modern women ideology. So everyone in this, I don't know, what is it? What is it? The View or whatever her show is, right? Every one of them, right? They are bittered feminist women, right? Modern women that will have a hard time in the dating market. Okay, will have hard time with men. And I believe that, she probably loved Jeezy, and he's probably the type of man that it's going to be his way or the highway. So she was probably trying to change, right? Trying to fit what he wants, because she's probably not naturally submissive. She's probably not naturally feminine, right? Not just a natural. She's not probably traditional. So she was trying, but again, I believe modern women will fail at it. Modern Western women will fail most of the time. We're trying to be traditional. We're trying to be, submissive, trying to be feminine. They will fail because look at this, right? The whole, men ain't shit, or the whole, women's power, the whole feminist thing. It doesn't just affect men, right? It's been affecting women mentally, where now they have that attitude that they are. Feminism has basically turned women into men, at least their personality, right? Their personality, their mindset, with a masculine mindset. So I think she was like in her late 30s. So she spent most of her life, with that. I believe, the whole, modern women feminist ideology crap. So it's hard to steer away from it, and it will always pop up, right? I dated a woman who said she was a traditional woman, or said that she believed in traditional values, but when they get mad, right, or when the relationship gets deep, it flips, right? They're aggressive, they're combative, they talk back at you, they look down on you. It's a whole lot. So yeah.
Was held up as the model feminist turned submissive girlfriend and then wife for about a good 2 years, fooling everybody who thought Jeezy finally got a good one. Jeannie was never a good one. I'll tell you why, but first, take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification for 2 more children after Jeannie. By the time Jeannie's second brother was born, money got even tighter for the family, so her mother had to pick up a second job to help pay bills. That took both of her parents out of the house most of the time because they both spent a lot of time working. That's why Jeannie's mother got a younger family member to come over and watch Jeannie every day after school. Jeannie was 9 years old, and the male family member believed to be a cousin or close relative was 16 years old or 17. Jeannie really looked up to him, but at some point, he started tampering with Jeannie's innocence. This went on for years, as he convinced Jeannie not to tell her parents, convincing her that they will be angry at her. When she was 13 years old, she begged her mom to get another babysitter, but wouldn't tell her why. Obviously, something really bad was going on, and her mother ignored the signs from her daughter. And by the time she turned 16, Jeannie revealed what had been going on for years with this family member. She told her mom what happened, but her mother did not believe her, which caused a big blow up between the mother and daughter, resulting in Jeannie leaving the house at only 16 years old, and she didn't see or speak to her mom for 9 years. Jeannie didn't talk to her mom again until she was almost 25 years old. Where did Jeannie go when she left home, and how did she survive from 1995 at 16 years old for 2 years until she became an adult? That part is unclear. But by the time she was 18, she was working as a makeup artist at MAC Cosmetics in her hometown. She started traveling the world as a part of the glam squad for celebrities like Christina Aguilera and Alicia Keys. She also worked as a television celebrity makeup artist for MTV's TRL. While she was a traveling makeup artist, her parents went into complete breakdown. Her father divorced her mother because he got tired of her mother's nasty attitude towards him.
I don't get along with my father, so anytime I upset my father, I pick on you, I pick on father.
You were very hot-tempered.
Yeah, I got hot temper all the time. Anytime I cooking something or he say something, I just fight back, almost like my father do that to my mom, and we fight too much.
Are you saying you were different than how you are now?
100% different. Right now, I'm easy and I'm soft girl and I'm nice girl. Before I'm just like a tiger, you know.
Let me just say this. Mama Mai, she's very opinionated, strong-willed, outspoken. But you imagine this times 500,000 more intensity back then. Still fabulous and fun to the public, but at home,
Yeah, I mean,
very quick to get angry. Fought with my dad almost every night.
anytime when my mom upset, she call me, she tell me. She doesn't do anything, so it's bother me. Your father come home, and then I pick on your father. It's always like that. Keep circle like that.
Why didn't you stop yourself when you saw yourself being that way?
At that time, I don't feel like myself anyway.
Do you think your hot temper is the only reason why you and dad didn't work out?
Not only that, I'm more control, more demand. I'm successful, and I don't need the man in my life.
Jeannie still wasn't speaking to her mother when her father left her, but the mother and daughter reconnected when Jeannie started hosting local television shows. She was tired of being behind the scenes and realized that she wanted a spot in front of the camera. And as soon as she got on the camera and her face was all over the bay, her toxic mother found a way back into her daughter's life. In 2005, Jeannie landed her first primetime hosting.
Let's say this, right? Asian moms can be very toxic, right? In the sense that, yeah, they are very. See, this is the thing, right? Let me say this, right? It is trauma. Women can't. Trauma for women is very detrimental, right? It will affect you. It will mentally damage you. So let's say this, right? A woman, like probably she was saying, right? You have to work so hard, you like going through the grind, right? Be not having an easy life. Although there was love, potentially, but as like as a woman, right? You're going through so much hardship. It will make you jaded, bitter, angry, very hard to deal with, right? Resentment too. So this is the thing where maybe not even just Asian moms, but just women, right? Where if you have to go through hardship, you are going to build up resentment, anger, all these feelings. And then as immigrants, right? Naturally, they got to go through a whole lot of hardship. Okay? So it is just that toxicity builds up, that emotional disgustingness, right? Where you just you lash out. So, what's the closest things you can lash out to, right? Your children, or potentially your husband. And that's the thing where both men and women can do it, right? They lash out, like men with financial. It's just when you're in your emotions, right? You lash out. You could be very unstable, okay, and destructive. And that's the problem that she's probably experiencing, where you know it's just a sad thing. It is sad. I've been there. I've done that. You know, my mom. I love my mom, but it's like, you know, she has shown those, toxic behaviors before, right? It is. Maybe this one is more to extreme, where she pretty much alienated everyone around her, the mother. But I think, again, all that trauma that, with family and with the cousin and all that stuff, I think it's very. This is the thing, right? Where with trauma for women, it is not a good thing. It is so not a good thing, because it rots your brain. For men, right? It Trauma is essentially needed so you can persevere, so you can become stronger. become harder, right? More tough. For women to do that, it makes you less of a very ladylike image, right? Very feminine, right? Because this is the thing where you become more masculine, right? That hardness because of what life has done to you. For men, you want to be, I don't know, tough men. You want to be men that can endure hardship of the world. Well, you kind of need that, right? Being soft is never, it's never a man's attribute, right? It's never a man's quality. So, I mean, as supposedly toxic as it may sound, right? It is something that men have to go through. It's like maybe a rite of passage. Okay, just for the strength, for picking yourself back up and enduring and pushing forward. But for women, it's going to turn you into someone that, very aggressive, and you have a personality that some men may not, most men might not be able to deal with.
Role on the USA Network, she moved on to MTV's Granted and hosted segments related to fashion and entertainment news on E!, Lifetime, TLC, and NBC. Jeannie also served as a correspondent and weekend host on NBC's Extra TV with Mario Lopez and was a fashion contributor for Perez Hilton. She continued hosting and being a fashion consultant in the TV industry until she landed a hosting gig for a new talk show that copied The View. That show was called The Real. It premiered in 2013. On that show, Jeannie was very opinionated. She had been married to her husband.
I give her props, right? She really hustled, and her career, she really worked hard.
Freddie for about 6 years before getting that job. Freddie married Jeannie when she was a struggling TV host, but when she got the job with The Real, her money changed. She also gained more recognition and visibility as the show was popular with young female viewers. That's where she made her infamous dark meat comments.
But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean. That's why I married white man.
Then one day, Jeannie revealed that she and Freddie had problems in their relationship. He wanted to have children, and she didn't. The couple ended up breaking up after 10 years of marriage in 2017. The divorce finalized in 2018. Freddie quickly moved on to a new woman who wanted to have his children. She popped out 2 of his kids right away, and they got married, living an outdoor type of lifestyle, taking care of their farm. And you didn't hear much from Freddie until Jeannie was salty about having to pay him alimony and told everybody on the show.
Shocking thing slapped me in the face when we divorced, and I had to end up paying him my earning.
That clip was also shared on The Real's IG page, and Lindsay, Freddie's new wife, she hopped under the comments going off. Lindsay said to Jeannie, "Your complete focus on yourself is why you're divorced. Yourself being the most important thing to you in the entire world is why you keep making up lies for more attention."
That is something, the lighting is terrible.
Then Lindsay went on.
Yeah. That is something, right? That feminism, right? Modern women ideology has poisoned women. They are more selfish than ever. I mean, I'm not saying that don't ever think about yourself, right? That's ridiculous. You should think about yourself. But then when you make yourself, it's all about you, well, why even be in a relationship, right? Because there's another person there. So if it's all about you, cool. No, there's no complaint to me, right? There's no complaint from me. That if you want to be all about you, great. Stay single, right? When it's all about you, you should stay single. But when you have that mindset, right? When you're the entitlement that it's about you, and you bring that into a relationship, that is a recipe for disaster. Because you're just too selfish, right? Too entitled to think about the other person. And then how's that even a relationship, right? And I think No, I mean, like, I can't make a data. It's not a data point, but an educated guess that's practically all women right now, all modern Western women. It's all about them. It's you. It's me. Right? That's it. And then a man is like, that's the whole phrase, right? I don't need you, but I want you. Okay? Because you want you want the person for yourself, right? You want them. It's like, but you could throw them away when you don't need them, when you don't want them anymore. But when you need them, I mean, the person is even more important to you. So it's about them, in a sense, right? But that's my own view about it. But I definitely see that the entitlement and the selfishness of a lot of modern day women.
Her IG stories, and she wrote, "Ratings must be down again." We heard from Freddie and Lindsay once again in 2021 when Jeannie announced that she was expecting her first child with Jeezy. Freddie responded to a comment where someone wondered how he felt about Jeannie being pregnant when she was with him for 10 years and refused to get pregnant. Freddie wanted babies. Freddie responded saying he, quote, "upgraded from trash to treasure a long time ago." Really messy, but it made people wonder, why did Jeannie refuse to have a baby from Freddie when she admitted that he was such a great husband and she told everyone she was in love with him? And then it's like she rushed to have a baby with Jeezy when they got together. Jeannie made it seem like Jeezy made her so comfortable and she was in such a great place, but let's be honest, it was Jeezy's money and status, along with her age, that made her rush to have this baby. Jeannie got pregnant before.
Yeah, I think her age, right? I think her age is one of the bigger attributes. So she saw a man of maybe equal to higher standing, and to get this guy, she had to change it up, right? She had to really fit into the feminine role. And because, like I said, from the things I've heard about Jeezy, I think he's a no BS type of man. It's his way or the highway kind of shit, right? He's left baby mamas that didn't follow his roadmap. So for Jenny, if she wanted to be with him, she had to fall in line with how he runs things. So one of the things is that she better pop out a baby quick, or else what's the point of a man marrying a woman if making the risk of marriage if he's not getting a child, right? You might as well just be boyfriend and girlfriend. So that's one thing. And she her whole perceive submission, so
they got married. It all happened so fast. It was like she was trying to trap Jeezy. Jeannie was 39 when the divorce was clear, and she didn't have any time to waste. She had to find the richest sucker who would wife her, and that sucker was Jeezy. She made everyone believe that after living as a non-traditional wife to Freddie, that she was automatically going to flip on the femininity switch at the big age of 40 and become a submissive wife. No, Jeannie became a desperate chameleon.
But that's the thing, right? A lot of women say that they need to meet a masculine man, so for them to be feminine, right? So it's conditional femininity, right? So I'm gonna be combative, aggressive, masculine in nature until I find a man that can make me flip that switch. I mean, it's not natural to you, right? Femininity is not natural to you. Being submissive, being traditional, being a lady is not natural to you. If you have to flip a switch, that switch can always turn on and off. So who knows, right? If she gets mad, she gets an attitude, or that switch will flip again. That's the thing. If it's not natural to you, then that's not who you are. So it can always revert back to whatever, the masculinity, the aggressiveness, the modern women in you, right? The feminists in you.
As I've been saying for years now, femininity is not a light switch. You can't cut it on and off. and there was nothing cooperative and submissive about Jeannie ever. But I do believe Jeannie was lying and saying whatever she could to hurry and seal the deal. I'll tell you, being Jeezy's wife wasn't hard. She was still allowed to focus on her career and business ventures. He supported that. She didn't have to cook like that for real. Although she said she knew how to cook, she said that she didn't really know how to cook what Jeezy liked to eat. So basically, her cooking was useless if she couldn't cook what her husband liked. That's who you're supposed to be pleasing, Jeannie. So Jeezy kept his favorite chef around. That was Jamaican chef Delroy. Chef Delroy, he can cook better for Jeezy because Jeezy wasn't really feeling Jeannie's cucumber salads. Chef Delroy told Jeannie that she had to learn how to cook from the soul. And Jeannie was up there asking him how to pick watermelons.
I want to start just peeling some carrots. We got some ready.
While I'm peeling, can I ask you random questions? Because I'm excited to have your presence. Help me in life.
Sure.
When you go to the grocery store, how can you tell if a watermelon's ripe?
That was cringy. But word is Jeezy ended the marriage over disagreements on family values and expectations. Number one, Jeannie's mama. She's been living with Jeezy and Jeannie the whole time. And sorry, but that's a problem. I don't know about men of other cultures, but an American man, a man who was born in America, his family born in America, especially a black man, they can be cool with their mother-in-law, but being in the same house is gonna cause problems, especially if she's anything like Jeannie's mama. Disrespectful and out of order. Jeannie is exactly who she is because of her mama. She is just like that lady. See how Jeannie's dad had to leave her mama over her disrespect, and now Jeezy is leaving Jeannie for the same thing, and quiet as it's kept, that's the same reason why Freddie left Jeannie too. The man married her, he was her husband. I'm talking about Freddie now. She did not give him that baby that he wanted. After all of those years, Freddie saw Jeannie as disrespectful and selfish. So that's one lesson here. When you have a man, one that's still more traditional or conservative, which most men are, and no, I'm not talking about a political party, but it doesn't matter the race. They all want the same thing. That's to be respected. Respect is not.
You hear that, right? I've been having comments, right, about you're not black, so you can't talk about black people, black women, black issues, shit like that. Here's a black woman, right, saying pretty much what I'm saying. It's not about race. Here's a woman that's dealt with two men of different races, and still both men essentially experience the same issue. Men in general are very traditional. It's just it. It's just how it is. Men in general are traditional. You have two men of different races, but they are essentially traditional mindset, right? Family, men, head of the household, traditional women, right? And yet, they pick a woman that's really not traditional. And they're suffering for it. But that's the thing, right? Both men know that suffering, right? And that's what I talk about. Men understand the hardships, the issues that other men face. It don't matter your skin tone, right? We understand. I get that. I understand that hardship. I get the issues Jeezy's facing. I get the issues that her first husband faced. I understand it. Because I faced it, right? I've been there. I've done that. So here's a black woman saying it, and I 100% agree with her.
Number one, and disrespect is not tolerated. Jeannie's dad is Asian, Freddie is white, and Jeezy is black. And they all want the same thing from their wives, to have a respectful, cooperative woman. Jeannie's mom was not cooperating and respecting Jeannie's dad. And Jeannie was disrespectful and uncooperative with Jeezy and Freddie. It's her filthy, nasty attitude, her masculine personality, and her rude mouth that made her a single mother at 44, nothing else. She even admitted that she was disrespectful.
For example, I have a really hot temper. Not a lot of people know this, but it's just something in my family. I've seen it in my grandmother. Saw it in my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my mom, to my aunts, to me, right?
Yeah, me and
very quick to get angry, fought with my dad almost every night. Do you think your hot temper is the only reason why you and dad didn't work out? For example, I have a really hot temper, but I didn't notice it in myself until I was with Jeezy.
Interesting. You didn't notice in your previous marriage?
No, because it has to do with the type of relationship you have and the type of respect you have for that person to mirror things back to you where you actually would stop you in your tracks and evaluate.
The issue, right, was with the white man, he kind of baited it, right? He let things slide. Jeezy, right, although they're traditional in mindset, but they're just different personality. Jeezy is probably more of a man than the white boy, right? Where Jeezy puts his foot down. He says, no, you ain't gonna do that shit, right? It's, like I said, my way or the highway. She probably had the same hot temper with the white boy, but he was kind of simping, right? Or he was beta. He just like, he couldn't fight her back or like put her in her place or make her notice that she was being disrespectful. She was being hard to deal with, right? He probably just ignore it, or, you know, was the one who's saying, I'm sorry, no, it's okay. Are you just really just not as masculinity as you would want it, right? So that's probably the difference.
Evaluate yourself, you know?
So you had it.
So I had it, but
nobody
ever called me out on it. Also, in my line of work, sometimes being a boss isn't so great for you because you have a lot of people who just agree to what you want. They're yes men, right? And so I didn't notice that I had a hot temper until I got with Jeezy. And here's a person who is my equal and I really respect. And when I would spew some of my old habits, and he was like, like, who? That's not flying.
It's also kind of like, so it is very telling how she pretty much viewed her first husband not her equal, and she definitely didn't respect her first husband. So it is very sad and telling.
Here. And also, it would trigger him to come back at me with things where I was like, who the f- do you think you are?
Yeah, she was disrespectful to Freddie, and she tried it with Jeezy. She got checked a couple of times by Jeezy, but then he realized that she was not going to change that. So he had to dip before she pushed him to slapbox that big old head. He knew that he could never physically correct this woman, and she wasn't listening. So of course, it's not going to work. If he stayed with her, all he was going to do was ruin his whole reputation that he's built up for the last 20 years. And it wasn't worth it, so he left. Word is, Jeannie wouldn't listen. She wanted to be in control and wouldn't follow through with his expectations. So at the end of the day, ladies, you're not going to jump to different races of men thinking they will expect something different from you. Most men generally want the same thing. And guys, strong, independent feminists are in every race. You have to make sure you know what you're getting. Jeannie has always been a strong, independent woman. She's been running and rebelling since she was 16 years old. And that's another thing. A lot of you get involved with women with way too much going on, and you think you can fix them. I always say you can't mold stale bread.
That's the thing, right? I personally say it. The older the older the women are, the more she's harder to deal with, because more than likely she's been through a lot. She is harder to deal with. Most people, right? You don't get less trauma, right? Trauma doesn't just disappear as you get older. No, it's, if you're lucky, your trauma level stays the same, if you're lucky. But more average, most times, it just increases as time goes on, right? There's more things that happen to you, more things that affected your heart, weighed on your brain, just affected your personality. So it just makes you harder to deal with. And especially for women or anyone, right? If you don't have good self-reflection where you actually understand your traumas, understand your problems, and see it and actually fix them, which most people don't, right? It's those traumas just pretty much just stay in you as a hard to deal with personality. So it just makes, that's why I said it's just, it just makes you annoying. And I do these videos on like the Kendra G video, Kendra G reactions, and you see women still single in their late 30s, late 40s, even 50s and 60s and whatever, and they're still single and still looking for a man. But you gotta think, why can't they find one? Because they are hard to deal with.
And Jeannie was already stale when Jeezy met her. He should have known better, but she played a chameleon really nice. At the end of the day, this still falls on Jeezy. He should have checked the history on this woman. If he really vetted her properly, he would have been able to see this.
Oh, like, you know what I'm saying? So, I just think sometimes like people look for things in people, but at the same time, you got to know I'm a good judge of character, and I'm not going to do nothing that's going to jeopardize my integrity. But she's so solid. That's one of the first conversations we had.
That's fine.
Like, you different.
He's a bad judging character, right? He is. I think he sees beauty, right? And then women, the type of women he chooses, they see what type of personality he has, and they will, chameleon it, right? They will fake it. So the problem is, right, he rushed it. I think they were, a 2-year relationship? And he already got married, and within 2-3 years already had a baby. It's like he rushed things.
I'm glad Jeezy had a prenuptial agreement, but that's going to be another problem possibly. But these days, who knows how that's going to turn out? They still have this baby together. Jeannie came in with her fake femininity, and once she had the ring and the baby, she continued to be her regular self. She was not trying to get on Jeezy's program 100%. On top of that, she had her family living in the house. Not just her mother, but one of her brothers also ended up moving in too, which is just way too much. And for Americans like us, we don't really like to have all these family members.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an Asian thing, right? We are very, our family pretty much live with us. So it's not necessarily easy for American sensibility to deal with stuff like that. So, that's the issue where he didn't date her long enough to see her culture. That's the problem, right? That's the thing with the mixing of culture or going into someone else's culture. You have to take time. You have to actually put some effort into understanding someone's culture, seeing if you could fit with it, or seeing if it works for you. If you don't take that time, you're in for a rude awakening. And that's the thing with mixed relationships. If you don't take time, you rush it. It's a recipe for disaster. And I think I blame this man, right? I think I blame Jeezy. I mean, women are gonna do what women do, right? They see a man of, I guess, a value in their eyes, and they're gonna try their best to get him. He should not have rushed it, because he didn't put that. Even if he did rush it, he didn't put enough investigative effort to really go into it. Because this is not like, he was not marrying a black woman where he knew it, right? The culture, the sensibility, the essential, the core thinking, okay, of that. The culture. You went into another culture, right? A mixed relationship, which is cool. Mixed relationship is great, but you have to take time, because there's some extra steps, right? You gotta understand, okay, is she straight up Americanized, where she doesn't have care about her roots, care about her culture? You got to know this stuff, right? But this is the thing, where it's just the extra step he didn't take. So yeah, if he rushed it, he should have put in more effort. And at the end of the day, he didn't take his time, right? If he took time and not just straight up married her so quickly and had kids with her, which, I mean, I understand. I've been there, I've done that, right? I understand. She was old. It's not gonna get easier for her to have kids. So I get it, I understand it, but I don't know. It's just he should have done better at vetting. Anyway, what do you guys think? You know what? I do want to say, right? This is the thing, right? Even Asian women, if you will get with an Asian woman that's in the West, their minds are poisoned. It's more likely, right? First generation, right? Not like women that are, Asian women that are immigrated over here. First generation ones, second generation women that have been born here and just pretty much assimilated with American culture. The especially women with their feminism, the modern women ideology. If they have assimilated to that, if they have adopted and lived it, it's a recipe for disaster, especially for a certain type of men, right? Men that are traditional in nature, you are going to have a hard time. And this is the thing. It's been poisoned. It's poisoned Asian women. So, it is what it is, I guess. Alright, later, guys.